I don't think most people understand how much Teen Vogue made a difference in all our lives. Or people who watch my stuff, this publication made a huge impact in all our lives, whether you know it or not, because it changed the game entirely. And so for anybody who hasn't heard, they just did this. So they have dissolved the politics team, removed all black women from its staff, folding Teen Vogue into the Vogue. All this is a more unified experience, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what this is about. And before I forget to say this, if there's any Teen Vogue articles that you love, download them now, because chances are I have already lost one of my articles that I wrote. I have never written for Teen Vogue. I wanted to. I pitched them and they impacted my career so much. I'll get to that in a minute. But I've already lost one of the, I've written over 60 articles for many publications, and one of the publications folded this particular department or whatever, a vertical, and all of our work disappeared like that. Thank God I saved it. So if there's any articles you love at Teen Vogue, go download them now, because they could disappear. Anything you like online, please start saving stuff. Get a hard drive, save, buy more books, because this stuff could disappear. Anyway, also in this, there's no mention of politics. Like, they're just getting rid of it. And the enraging thing is that Teen Vogue was doing political coverage that nobody else was doing. Nobody. They started doing this back in 2016 by an article that went super viral and changed the game. And this article changed my life, because this article made me realize that I could write about the things I wanted to for like women's magazines. I did not realize that. I didn't realize that I could talk about politics. Like a lot of the other magazines started being more open to more radical, more leftist, definitely more diverse writers, more diverse stories. No, it wasn't all about fashion. And I'm not saying that none of these magazines ever did this. I'm just saying Teen Vogue changed all of the magazines on some level, because after this article, you may remember this, Donald Trump is gaslighting America. This article, this was the first publication to finally say what everyone was thinking, that nobody had the guts to say, or like none of the publications. I'm sure plenty of writers had pitched this, but no publication would do this until Teen Vogue did it. The New York Times article even mentioned this, and I was glad they did, because when I heard that they were folding this into, like, the first thing I thought of was how much that article changed my life. The article itself wasn't, but because I was, I had been thinking a lot of this stuff, but it was bold. It was so bold. They said out loud what no one else would say. And they, that was brave. And it went viral, and everybody was like, oh my God, well, Teen Vogue is like the only one who will say it. They had a new legitimacy after that one article that none of the other publications could touch. But what they did was normalize the pushback. Normalize calling this man straight out to his face. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that like nobody did, but the way they did it in this one, it went so viral. And I remember exactly where I was sitting when I read that article. And I was like, I'll be damned. I'm going to start pitching. At that time, like I think I got my first big articles started coming out in 2017. But I started pitching, started writing a lot in 2016. And this article inspired me to be bold. It inspired me to just try to say the thing that nobody seems to be saying. Teen Vogue gave so many opportunities to women who had been shut out. It gave opportunities to storytelling that had been never cared for, centered. Like just in 2016, like they shifted, and it was a very intentional shift. They were covering immigration, climate change. Elaine Welteroth, she was the editor-in-chief. She was the first African-American to serve in that role. She is credited for the noble increase of Teen Vogue coverage on politics and social justice, encouraging readers to become civically engaged, specifically during the 2016 election. Also shifted the format to YouTube. Also, like the subject matter, like the bold storytelling. The editor-in-chief sets the tone, right? And I say this, even though I never got the privilege to write for Teen Vogue, not for a lack of desire. I did write several pieces for Harper's Bazaar, and all of my pieces were under the leadership of this woman. So Samira Nasser has been the editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar. She also, I believe, is the first Black woman. And where this magazine has gone has been incredible because of the leadership at the top. I was only brave enough to pitch some of the stuff that I pitched them, and even got to write some of the stuff I got to write for them, because it all starts from the top. And if you go to Harper's Bazaar or Teen Vogue, or Cosmo, I think has been doing a lot more. Like there's certain magazines where I was like, I want to write for them. I'm not a fashion girly. I know nothing about fashion, y'all. I didn't think I could become a writer for magazines because I thought all women's magazines were about fashion and like dating and like, but not like, like centering my pleasure kind of dating. I thought I was wrong. But one of the reasons why I thought that is because that's what I had seen so much. And so under the leadership of just these two women that I've mentioned, the direction, the stories that are able to be told, absolutely because of their leadership. And then because all of the editors at that magazine, like it starts from the top down, and it goes down. Can't even articulate this. I owe my career to women like this. This is just one of the articles I wrote. This changed my life. I didn't think anyone would want, even a women's magazine. Why would they let me write about men's groups, which was only part of it? So I can't tell you how, any of the articles I've written or any of the writers who the articles have changed your life. A lot of these writers and journalists are on TikTok too. The editors have a lot to do with that. These stories have to be greenlit. You can't write whatever you want. They have to be greenlit. And by the way, she was one of the first people to speak out. She didn't even say like free Palestine or anything. She just talked about how access to water, and I forget her exact quote. They tried to get her fired over that. She was one of the first ones, risked her whole career by literally just posting on Instagram, like, I think it's inhumane to cut off power and water to children or something. Like, and there was calls for, fire her. So I just want people to understand how much courage it takes for women in these positions to do what they're doing. And now we've just lost one. So this was I guess, I can't say current editor-in-chief at Teen Vogue, but now they have basically fired, let go, laid off, whatever. And like my feed in the last 24 hours has been enraging and like so sad, because I'm in, I follow so many journalists, and seeing how much Teen Vogue changed the careers, changed the lives of so many writers. Teen Vogue gave so many people, but especially women, and especially women of color, especially Black women, especially like trans women, like queer, like so many women who never got a chance to tell their story, got their start at Teen Vogue, and then just like it catapulted them into a whole new career. Because like when these publications let you tell your story, you get a validity. You are respected in the industry on a whole new level. And then other people will take chances with your stories because someone first vouched for you. When I was out there trying to pitch stories, it was like all the stories that I'd gotten to write helped me like already because other editors had accepted the pitches and, took the chance on my story. That got my foot in the door at other publications, and it launched my career. Because editors vouched for me by greenlighting my stories and making them great. Because editors are a huge part of the writing process, cutting all the crap out of it. I've had some bad editors too. But most of my editors have made my work better. And if they hadn't taken a chance on me, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't have this career. I wouldn't have the confidence to be on here talking to y'all if I hadn't been doing this for so long. If I didn't feel like I had a right to talk about it, because all of these editors gave me that confidence by being like, this is an awesome story. Great. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have to be like, great job, Melanie. But just by paying me for it and accepting it and taking that risk on their career, on my work, that helped me believe in what I was doing. I can't tell you how much this means. Actually, I'm just going to show you some of Elaine's. She captured a bunch of the tweets that are kind of summarize all this. Teen Vogue took young people seriously. It's impossible to overstate how important, how rare, and how profoundly needed this is. Teen Vogue produced some of the best mainstream progressive journalism of the last decade. Absolutely. With a strong focus on connecting with young people. Teen Vogue speaks more honestly about American politics than any other Condé Nast title. Condé Nast. Yeah, they're being nasty now. It speaks to marginalized communities. It gives voices to those who were typically silenced with legacy media. It speaks the truth. The entire content model is changing in this consolidation, and so is the staff. This one writer was saying they accepted the role at Teen Vogue because someone showed me they were about to publish an article titled "Donald Trump is Gaslighting America," and I knew they were on the cusp of changing how young people interact with politics. Boom, exactly. Their coverage was unmatched. This I thought was a really interesting take because I do think this is true. There were young, so imagine there's this teenage magazine that is speaking to young people, but especially young girls, teenage girls. And while a lot of guys were in high school, doing whippets in the parking lot or whatever, or being radicalized online with the Tates and all these podcast bros. This is this is what a lot of the girls were watching. And then we wonder why, like, the girls are not interested in dating. Why, it's like the younger, not all, but becoming more and more progressive, and the guys are getting and don't forget, this is on top of 300,000 Black women being laid off, the rollback of DEI, all these other job losses. I can't even think of all of them right now in this moment. Like every day, there's more examples. Gayle King, Joy Reid. I mean, this has been going on for a while, and I love this. It's not a tweet. I don't know what you call this on Threads. Look at this. Look at some of these headlines. Law and Order taught Americans to root for the police. I didn't realize that so much of the stuff I've been watching was propaganda until articles like this. Now, I grew up on Law and Order. Sometimes it takes one article to change your entire worldview. Books can do that, absolutely. Sometimes one TikTok, but one article, I can tell you how many articles have changed how I look at so much because I never thought about this. I was like, oh my God, Law and Order totally had me rooting for Law and Order and all those stupid cop shows. Just look at these headlines. Talking about the police, talking about, pause if you want to read all these. Women's sports and the treatment of Angel Reese never, ever shied away from talking about the power to be. For especially white women who follow me, you don't understand why we are where we are. Teen Vogue can tell you how the backlash to George Floyd protests set the stage for another Trump administration, right? They're look at this. She was talking about how she was at Teen Vogue for 5 years. I had an incredible politics editor who centered Black, brown, queer, trans, and disabled voices. Now, a lot of them were laid off a while ago, so it's not like this is out of nowhere, but this is like the final nail in the coffin. And I love this. Teen Vogue writers educated and empowered a whole generation of women. Their articles were phenomenally researched and written, accessible without uppity jargon, and were so often unafraid to say the truth to what young people were facing in this country. That's another reason why I was afraid to pitch to the Washington Post or any of these magazines, because I had to change my voice to write for each magazine. I had to change my voice. And I loved writing for the Daily Beast. They have since been bought out by millionaires and things have shifted there. I would pitch to the editor who let me tell the stories without making me change who I was. And I could use the vocabulary. You always have to adapt to the voice of the publication. That's standard. But when I didn't have to change who I was and change my voice entirely, I knew I was with I was with a great publication that would support me in my work. And I've had so many editors who are I really owe my career and my confidence to them letting me be myself and also giving me very direct, helpful, hard for the ego, great for the soul, great for the craft, notes that made my work better. I'm just telling you, there's so many people that have influenced it, you don't even know who they are. And they were allowing writers to bring stories that changed conversations, changed the world, changed our hearts and our minds. So there's a lot of people grieving right now. I mean, and this is all over. It's not just the news, but I want to take a moment to talk about Teen Vogue's influence on me, even though I never even had the privilege of writing for them. They changed my career. So what do we do about this? Okay, one, I want people to take seriously how important it is to support people who are doing the work you love, who are not being financed by anybody, who are not like they're, freelancers. Like all of the writers at Teen Vogue who just got laid off, all the editors, they're freelancing now. So if they have an email list, maybe they have a newsletter, maybe they have a Patreon, go support them. When I look at the money that I spend on things that I don't even use, like when I went and saw how many subscriptions I have, and some of these, like, I'm not even watching shows. Like, I don't even have time to watch most things now, So I've been like going through and seeing, where am I spending money on things that I don't even use, that I don't even care about, or that's not even like doing good stuff? Or where am I like in my budget? Do I need to spend money on this and that when life-changing art, stories, it feels good to support people whose work changes your life. And especially a lot of, especially Black women right now are the number one target. And I saw a TikTok on this yesterday. I will try to find it and tag. I'll try to include a link or tag the creator, who said that Black women are being targeted. Well, first of all, Black women are always scapegoated for everything. But one of the reasons is because Black women's work and, activism and education, so much of it free, which shouldn't be free, right? Because it's so valuable, have radicalized all women, but especially white women. White women are more and more, not always, obviously there's some who are going so far right, we got to try, whatever. But my feminism is heavily influenced on women of color, but especially Black women, trans, like LGBTQ plus, disabled women, but just lived experiences I don't have. I'm not going to see the problem for what it is because of my limited experience and vision. And my feminism, my life has changed dramatically because of the work and the education of so many Black women, especially. I've said this before, two in particular, White Woman Whisperer, delusional influencer, especially in terms of understanding whiteness and being a white woman, and how it's changed my life. It's changed my life. Not only to be a safer person in the world, and like my feminism to be like much better, but in my personal life, my own self-value, self-worth, and standing up to men and seeing their BS, whole next level. So please give watch hours, subscriptions, put your name on a newsletter. The people who are really changing the world and changing your life, they are not getting paid, right? And by the way, shout out to all my Patreon people, because y'all are one reason why I'm able to do this. I would have quit a long time ago because the algorithms do not pay enough money. Also, one other thing. Film. Jennifer Esposito is a filmmaker. She did this phenomenal movie. We actually did a watch party on Patreon about this. I'm doing a live with her on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's Thursday, November 6th on YouTube. Usually I do my lives on Patreon behind the paywall. This one is on YouTube for everybody. Everybody. And the Patreon people submit questions if you have any that I can ask, or hopefully have time to ask. This movie is amazing because it tells this perspective of it turns like The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, and stuff like that on its head. And I'm going to have her on there. We're going to be talking about this kind of stuff, about how we get these stories out there in an environment where they are firing people, an environment where they are not funding films like this. Like Jennifer mortgaged her house to pay for this movie to be made. and then face, distribution and all. Like, there's so many hurdles for the women that you love the most, whether it's me, her, or all the women that you watch that you love. There's so many hurdles for us to do what we want to do, and especially because there are gatekeepers, and we need to get rid of the gatekeepers. We're going to talk about that on this live. People have asked who I follow, so I'm gonna do a comment song about the amazing people I follow. Right out of the gate, Therese Lee, she's got a new special about witches and all kinds of stuff. You gotta buy it on a Substack. Anyway, here are some of my favorite people I follow. You probably already know most of these people. You've probably been following them for a long time. But if you haven't, I'm introducing you. Hit pause and write down their name. Or open your phone and just go follow. These are some of my favorite people I've learned so much from. Go ahead and hit pause and take notes, do whatever. I've learned so much from these people. Funny, hilarious, smart, oh my God, they opened my mind. I didn't realize how much I didn't even know. I still have Hood Feminism, great book. So much to learn, so much to learn. Follow, give watch hours, even follow their Patreons. I'm telling you, this stuff changes you profoundly. Same way, maybe my work has changed you, or maybe not. Maybe I'm just a crazy bitch who yells on the internet and makes you laugh, and that's all. That's okay. Anyway, this is my long list of people I follow. I mean, I follow a lot of people, but this is just some of my favorite ones. And missing people, I know. Oh, Daniela, if you want friendships, go follow her. Oh my God, it's just too many to list. Anyway, you've asked me for a list for a long time. This is just the beginning. Anyway, Lauren was my coach. She's one of the reasons why I do my Patreon. Lauren, yeah. Anyway, the song is ending soon. Make sure you're taking notes. Anyway. Support fellow artists. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to live on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Et voila.